Today is March 29. On the 29th of March 2017, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom invokes Article 50 of the Treaty on European Union, formally beginning the United Kingdom's withdrawal from the European Union. Who was the Prime Minister in question? Welcome everyone to a new episode of Smarter by the Second. Today I'm joined by Lieke.
Hello.
Lieke. How are you doing?
Hi. I'm great, how are you?
I'm fine as well, thank you.
Good.
So, could you shortly introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Lieke. I'm a second year and I'm trying to win today. So, yeah.
Alright, so today you're playing for the category media. So
Yes.
why did you pick media?
Because I don't really have a lot of knowledge, so I thought this would be the easiest one.
So you checked the previous episodes and you feel all the dumb people are doing media? Or,
Well, no, but you know, it seems the easiest. I don't know a lot
okay.
about the other
Maybe
ones.
it's just because you're good in media. We'll see.
We'll see, yeah.
Alright, then let's jump into the first question.
Okay.
If you're a big Marvel fan, you probably remember the cheers and laughter that came with Stan Lee's inaugural appearance in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, showing up at the same gala Tony Stark was attending, only to be mistaken for someone else. That appearance kicked off a long list of cameos. In fact, he appeared in every MCU movie before he sadly passed away. Here are 9 celebrity cameos. You will see them on the screen
Yes.
while they're doing their cameo, and you have to tell in what series or movie this is.
Okay.
So the options you can choose from are New Girl, Zombieland, That 70s Show, Zoolander, Thor Ragnarok, Home Alone 2, How I Met Your Mother, Men in Black 2, and Deadpool 2.
Okay.
You watched all these movies and series?
Not all of them, but I think I will recognize them.
Alright. Alright, best of luck.
Thank you.
First one. Katy Perry,
This is How I Met Your Mother.
David Bowie,
Zoolander.
Bill Murray,
Zombieland.
Donald Trump,
Home Alone 2.
Prince,
This is New Girl.
Matt Damon,
Thor.
Brad Pitt,
This is Deadpool 2.
Michael Jackson,
Men in Black 2.
The Rock.
That 70s show. Stop the time.
Alright. So you think there are 5 correct answers?
I think I got them all correct.
Ooh, that's the confidence I want to see.
Yes.
Okay, then the first one here we saw Katy Perry in How I Met Your Mother. Then David Bowie in Zoolander. Bill Murray in Zombieland. Donald Trump helping Kevin out in Home Alone 2. We have Prince in New Girl. Matt Damon in Thor. Brad Pitt starring in Deadpool 2. Michael Jackson in Men in Black 2. And finally we have The Rock in That 70s Show. So
Yes.
your confidence was not misplaced. A perfect round to start off.
Yeah.
When watching a movie using a DVD or videotape, there's always this endless barrage of bumpers before the movie. Who doesn't remember the You Wouldn't Steal a Car anti-piracy campaign, for example, or for our Dutch viewers, the Brein intro tune. Here are 9 movie company bumper themes.
Okay.
You will hear them and you have to tell me the corresponding company.
Yes.
The options you can choose from are Columbia, 20th Century Fox, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, THX, Walt Disney, Universal, Pixar, DreamWorks, and Warner Bros.
Okay.
Good luck.
Thank you. This is DreamWorks. This is Universal. 20th Century Fox. Pixar. This is Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. This is Columbia. This is Walt Disney. THX. And Warner Bros. Stop the time.
Okay.
Okay.
So still 5 correct answers needed.
I will use 2 lifelines just to be sure.
Okay. Then we only need to have 3 correct yourself. So first up, that was Warner Bros. Then we use one of your lifelines. Then we have Columbia. So that's your second lifeline used. But then you have the third one correct yourself with 20th Century Fox. As well as the fourth one, which was Pixar. And congratulations, your 5th correct answer is already Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer.
Nice.
And we have Universal, Walt Disney, DreamWorks, and lastly we have THX. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
In the song Kill the Director by the Wombats, lead singer Matthew Edward Murphy sings about how his life is like a terrible rom-com and he therefore wants to get rid of the director of his terrible rom-com life. Here are then 9 famous directors who didn't direct terrible rom-coms.
Okay.
I will tell you the movie and you have to tell me the corresponding director.
Yes.
So the people you can choose from are Alfred Hitchcock, Peter Jackson, Tim Burton, Wes Anderson, Christopher Nolan, Steven Spielberg, Quentin Tarantino, Martin Scorsese, and James Cameron.
Okay.
You recognize these directors?
It will be tricky.
Okay. First one, Back to the Future.
Peter Jackson.
Pulp Fiction.
Tim Burton.
Interstellar.
Christopher Nolan.
Psycho.
Steven Spielberg.
Lord of the Rings.
Martin Scorsese.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Wes Anderson.
Goodfellas.
Quentin Tarantino.
Avatar.
James Cameron.
The Grand Budapest Hotel.
Alfred Hitchcock. Stop the time.
Alright, how do you think it went?
I have no idea, so I will use all my lifelines.
That means also 64 seconds will be subtracted. Leaves you a bit less than 100. But then you only need to have 2 correct. You think you knew any of them, or did you just guess them all completely?
No, I guessed them all. So
let's see how lucky you are today.
Yes.
Well, the first one, Back to the Future, is directed by Steven Spielberg. Then we have Pulp Fiction by Quentin Tarantino. And Interstellar, which is directed by Christopher Nolan. So this is your first correct answer.
Okay.
Psycho by Alfred Hitchcock. Lord of the Rings by Peter Jackson. Nightmare Before Christmas by Tim Burton. Goodfellas by Martin Scorsese. And then Avatar is by James Cameron. So there's your second answer.
Nice.
And lastly, the Grand Budapest Hotel, which is Wes Anderson.
Okay.
So luckily you had 4 lives.
Yeah.
Alright, so you're just lucky enough today.
Yes.
Let's see whether that continues.
Okay.
The Rolling Stones have been performing for over 60 years now. Even now, with the passing of drummer Charlie Watts, they still make music and go on tours. And one thing we can say about their frontman is that, despite his old age, he still has the moves like Jagger. Here are 9 bands and the years when they were active. You will see them and I will tell them the years they're active and you have to tell me the band name.
Okay.
So the bands you can pick from are Oasis, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, AC/DC, ABBA, The Beatles, Blur, My Chemical Romance, Wham, and One Direction.
Okay.
You think you recognize them?
I think it might be fine.
Alright, so you're now not able to use 4 lifelines anymore?
Yes.
So you need to do it on knowledge now.
Yeah.
Okay, the first one. From 1983 and still active.
This is Red Hot Chili Peppers.
From 1988 to 2003.
Oasis.
From 2010 to 2016.
One Direction.
From 1973 and still active.
AC/DC.
From 1972 to 1982.
ABBA.
From 1991 to 2009.
Blur.
From the 1960 to 1974.
Wham.
Then 1981 till 1986.
My Chemical Romance.
And 2001 till 2013.
Beatles.
Stop
the time. Yeah. I think I got a lot of them incorrect, but we will see.
We'll see. Unfortunately, you cannot use any lifelines. So we'll see. The first one, they are started in 1983 and are still active now. It's 40 years already. These are the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Then from 1988 to 2003, here we see Blur. Then from 2010, only 6 years, 2016, it's One Direction. From 1973 and still active, so that's even 50 years, it's AC/DC. Then 1972 for a decade, it's ABBA. I think the photos lag right behind. So this was ABBA. And here we see Oasis, which was active from 1991 up till 2009. Then starting in 1960 to 1974, these are the Beatles. And we have for 5 years from 1981 to 1986, this is Wham. So I'm sorry. And lastly, we had My Chemical Romance, which was active from 2001 to 2013.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, you not quite made it to the second episode, but at least you made it to the fourth round.
Yes, so. I'm still proud of myself. So.
Exactly. All right, thank you for participating.
Thank you.
And before I forget, I still have the participation award for you.
Thank you so much.
Nice
this is why I did it.
All right, and then we will go on to the next contestant. And now joined with me is Ronan. Hello, Ronan. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, our pleasure. So, could you shortly introduce yourself?
Well, my name is Ronan. I'm from Ireland. I didn't do my bachelor's here. I came here to do my master's, so I'm quite new to all of this, but yeah, that's me in short, really.
Okay, so how do you like it here in the Netherlands?
It's great. It's great. I mean, the Dutch people they're very friendly. It's very similar to Irish people in a lot of ways, I think, so it's not too much of a jump.
So no culture shock?
Not so much, yeah. You guys like cheese a lot more, but that's about it so far, you know.
Right, so do you like the cheese as well? Maybe you just have better cheese over here, that's why you
Maybe.
like it.
I mean, what can I say, you know?
You don't want to snitch on your home country.
No, I can't start a war over cheese. You know,
your family might be watching this.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So you're actually the first participant who plays for the category Arts and Literature. So why did you pick this bold category?
Well, it seems interesting. I mean, it's not necessarily my strongest topic, but I thought it would be a fun one, and you know, I'm here to have fun and try some interesting topics. So I just thought I'd choose it.
It's good for the show, some variety over here. All right, then let's start with the first question.
Great.
An epic poem, or simply an epic, is a lengthy narrative poem typically about the extraordinary deeds of an extraordinary character who, in dealing with gods or other superhuman forces, gave shape to the mortal universe for their descendants. The Bible itself contains many an epic poem, the most obvious example of these being the recount around Noah's Ark, an adventure to survive God's anger at sea. Many more interesting epics have been written, though that people all over the world know about. Here are the 9 epic poems and the story they tell. So I will give you a description about the poem, and you have to tell me the corresponding poem. So the options you can choose from are the Divine Comedy, the Iliad, Gilgamesh, Beowulf, Song of Roland, Orlando Furioso, the story of Sigurd, the Vol Song and the Fall of the Nibelungs, the Odyssey, and the Aeneid. So, you know them?
Not my strongest round.
Okay, but you only need 5 correct answers.
I think I can get 5 for sure. I mean, I recognize at least 6 of them.
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah, and I've read Beowulf. So
okay,
yeah.
so that one should be in the poem.
That one should be. We'll see.
All right, then let's start. An Old English epic poem in the tradition of Germanic heroic legend. It is one of the most important, often translated.
Beowulf.
An epic poem of over 10,000 lines by William Morris, based on a cycle of 4 German-language epic music dramas composed by Richard Wagner.
The story of Sigurd.
One of the 2 major ancient Greek epic poems attributed to Homer. It recounts the events of the last few months of the 9-year-long
The Odyssey.
Latin epic poem written by Virgil. It tells a legendary
The Divine
story.
Comedy.
Jansen, just based on the Frankish military leader at the Battle of Roncevaux. But during the reign of the Carolingian king
Song of
Charlemagne.
Roland.
Italian narrative poem by Dante Alighieri. It recounts his travels across Inferno, Purgatory, and
Oh, that's
Paradise.
Divine Comedy.
Epic poem from ancient Mesopotamia about the king
Gilgamesh.
One of 2 major ancient Greek epic poems attributed to Homer. It follows a Greek hero on his journey back home after the Trojan War.
I think that's the Odyssey, and what I said was the Odyssey is the Iliad.
Italian epic poem by Ludovico Ariosto. It is regarded as the continuation of Matteo Baiardo's unfinished romance, Orlando Innamorato.
Orlando Furioso. And I'm not sure where the Aeneid is missing. The one that I said was Divine Comedy at first is the Aeneid. And that's it.
Stop the time.
Stop the time.
Okay. All right. So, are there 5 correct ones? Or do you want to use a lifeline?
Can I use 2?
You can use 2, but it will also cost you 32 seconds, like 16 seconds each.
That's okay. I'd rather just try to get through this round, so I'll use 2.
Okay. Then we will fill that in. All right, then go to checking. The first one, it's an Old English epic poem in the tradition of Germanic heroic legend. It is one of the most important and often translated works of English literature and tells the story of a Scandinavian hero fighting the monster Grendel. This is Beowulf, so the one you were very confident about, which is right. Then an epic poem of over 10,000 lines by William Morris, based on the cycle of 4 German-language epic music dramas composed by Richard Wagner. This is indeed the story of Sigurd the Volsung and the fall of the Netherlands. Then we have the first of the 2 major ancient Greek epic poems attributed to Homer. It recounts the events of the last few months of the 9 years long war of Troy. So here you corrected yourself well, because this is indeed the Iliad. Then we have the Latin epic poem written by Virgil. It tells the legendary story of a Trojan who fled the fall of Troy and traveled to Italy, where he became the ancestor of the Romans. This is the Aeneid. Then the Chanson de Geste, based on the Frankish military leader at the Battle of Roncevaux during the reign of the Carolingian king Charlemagne. It is the oldest surviving major work of French literature. This is the Song of Roland. So this is your 5th correct answer. So congratulations. Great. Then the Italian narrative poem by Dante Alighieri. It recounts his travel across Inferno, Purgatory and Paradise. It is widely considered one of the greatest works of world literature. This is the Divine Comedy. The epic poem from ancient Mesopotamia about a king in search of secret to eternal life after the death of his beloved friend Enkidu is Gilgamesh. Then the second major ancient Greek epic poem by Homer. It follows a Greek hero on his journey back home after the Trojan War. This is the Odyssey. And lastly, we have the Italian epic poem by Ludovico Ariosto. It is regarded as the continuation of Matteo Maria Bayardo's unfinished romance Orlando Innamorata. And this is the Orlando Furioso. So actually no lifelines needed here. You had a perfect round. This does mean you do get 1 lifeline back though.
Great. I was not expecting to do that well. I thought I was done for.
All right. So with more confidence we can go straight into round 2.
Hopefully.
Igor Fyodorovich Stravinsky was a Russian composer, conductor and pianist, later of French and American citizenship. He is widely considered one of the most important and influential composers of the 20th century and a pivotal figure in modernist music due to his unique approach to rhythm, orchestration and tonality. His works, among which The Firebird, have inspired many more concertos to come. Much like Stravinsky, many more composers continue to play a role in the way we perceive classical music to be like. Here are then 9 composers and the masterpieces they are famous for. You will see them. I will give you a description and you have to tell me the composer. So the people you can choose from are Giuseppe Verdi, Antonio Lucio Vivaldi, Ludwig van Beethoven, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, Frédéric Chopin, Sergei Prokofiev, Piotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky, Johann Sebastian Bach and Richard Wagner. So you listen to classical music a lot or not?
Yes, but I don't think I would remember names too well. I'm going to try and survive until we get to novels. But yeah, we'll see how I do. All
right. Good luck.
Thank you.
An Austrian composer famous for his incomplete Requiem in D minor, which was later...
That's Mozart?
Italian composer famous for his operas such as Nabucco.
Pass.
German composer famous for his concerto for 2 violins in D minor.
Oh, that's Bach.
Russian composer famous for writing Peter and the Wolf.
Russian. Is that Tchaikovsky?
German composer famous for his Symphony No. 5.
That's Beethoven.
Italian composer famous for his concertos such as The Four Seasons.
Vivaldi.
Russian composer famous for his ballads, among which The Nutcracker.
That's Tchaikovsky.
German composer famous for his many epic music dramas, among which Parsifal.
Wagner.
French composer famous for his waltz de Le Petit Chien.
Chopin. And the one I said was Tchaikovsky at first is Prokofiev, and I'm not sure which one I'm missing, but that will have to be Verdi.
You want to
stop the clock? Yeah.
All right. So once again for the second round, we are looking for 5 correct answers. Still have 4 lifelines left, but do you think you need them?
I think I do this time. I don't think I can. I don't think I did very well. I'm going to use 1.
Okay, so that's 1.
And pray.
All right, then the first one was an Austrian composer famous for his incomplete Requiem in D minor, which was later completed by his student Franz Xaver Süssmayr. This is Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Then we have the Italian composer famous for his operas such as Nabucco. This is Giuseppe Verdi. The German composer famous for his concerto for 2 violins in D minor. This is Johann Sebastian Bach. The Russian composer famous for writing Peter and the Wolf. Last second you said this was Sergei Prokofiev, which is correct. Then the German composer famous for his Symphony No. 5 in C minor. This is Ludwig van Beethoven. So, congratulations. Already passed it, no lifelines needed here. Then the Italian composer famous for his concertos such as The Four Seasons. This is Vivaldi. Then the composer famous for his ballads, among which the Nutcracker. This is Tchaikovsky. The German composer famous for his many epic music dramas, among which Parsifal, is Richard Wagner. And lastly, the French composer famous for his waltz de Le Petit Chien, also known as Minute Waltz, is Frédéric Chopin. So another perfect round.
Well, that's really unexpected, I'm not going to lie, but I'm happy with the outcome.
But you still have now a lot of lifelines. But the clock is ticking. We still need 2 rounds on this time, and you only have 2 minutes left.
All right, we'll do what we can.
All right. Beauty and the Beast is a fairy tale written by French novelist Gabrielle Suzanne Barbeau de Villeneuve and published in 1740, and is now mostly well known among the general public due to the Disney animation, which, as most movies intended for young audiences, portrays a happy ending. Truth be told though, the simply happy ever after ending we all know and grew up, which is not the original ending that this story was meant to have. In the original novel, Belle returns home to her father, 3 brothers and 2 sisters. The 2 sisters, jealous of the riches she brings back home, try to keep her longer home so as to anger the Beast into eating Belle. This only has the effect of killing the Beast, which Belle dreams about. Belle then returns to the castle and revives the Beast. Much like Beauty and the Beast, many more fairy tales used the end differently or had different implications. Here are then 9 Grimm brother fairy tales and their original contents. So I will give you a description and you have to tell me the fairy tale. So the options are The Little Red Riding Hood, Sleeping Beauty, Rapunzel, Hansel and Gretel, Cinderella, The Musicians of Bremen, The Frog King, Snow White and Rumpelstiltskin. Okay. So not quite novels, but it's more story-like.
Yeah. I feel better about this round than the last 2, but we'll see how that goes.
All right. Do remember that now there are 6 correct answers needed.
6 correct. Okay.
All right. Let's start. Originally involved parts of feet being cut off to fit a shoe and ended with 2 doves.
Cinderella.
Originally involved the child princess being awoken by poison by a much older
Sleeping
prince.
Beauty.
Originally implied the stepmother intending for these poor children to die a gruesome death once lost within the forest so they would not return home.
Pass.
Originally ended with robbers scrambling away and dying due to heart attacks induced by fear.
Rumpelstiltskin.
Originally had the wolf suffer a much more
Little Red Riding Hood.
Originally had the protagonist turn back into a prince after being thrown against the wall.
The Frog King.
Disgust. Originally ended with the evil witch realizing her prisoner is pregnant and casting her out of the
Snow
tower.
White.
Originally had the antagonist tear himself apart once the protagonist correctly guesses his name.
The Musicians of Bremen.
Originally ended with a necrophile prince impregnating a sleeping princess who gives birth in her slumber to a child who, circling her finger, wakes her up.
That's Sleeping Beauty, and the one I said was Sleeping Beauty is Snow White, and the one I said Snow White is Rapunzel. Right. Stop the clock. Is that done? Okay.
Okay. So, 6 correct answers. Are you going to use lifelines again, or do you think you'll manage without?
No, I think I need to use them. For sure, I'm going to use 2.
All right, 2. Then we'll fill that in. The first one originally involved parts of feet being cut to fit a shoe and ended with 2 doves swooping down and pecking out the eyes of the evil stepsisters as punishment for their wickedness. That's Cinderella indeed. Then we have originally involved a child princess being awoken by poison by a much older prince while being fought by her 7 protectors. So I think if you hear the end of the sentence, then you know that this was Snow White. But I think you corrected that well. Then implied the stepmother intending for those poor children to die a gruesome death once lost within the forest so they would not return home. That's Hansel and Gretel. Originally ended with the robbers scrambling away and dying due to heart attacks induced by fear. This was the Musicians of Bremen. Then, originally had the wolf suffer a much more gruesome ending in which he is filled with rocks and skinned alive before having him drown. That's the Little Red Riding Hood. Originally had the protagonist turn back into a prince after being thrown against the wall in disgust. This is the Frog King. So this is your 6th correct answer. Congratulations. Originally ended with the evil witch realizing her prisoner is pregnant and casting her out of the tower. Her lover also gets blinded, but manages to reunite with her. This is Rapunzel. Originally had the antagonist tear himself apart once the protagonist correctly guesses his name. This is Rumpelstiltskin. And lastly, originally ended with a necrophile prince impregnating a sleeping princess who gives birth in her slumber to a child who, suckling her finger, wakes her up. This is Sleeping Beauty. So you only swapped a couple of them around, but you managed.
I did, yes.
So I think my childhood would have looked a bit different if this was the stories I grew up with.
For sure, yeah.
All right, then let's continue to the last round of this episode. Okay. Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte is a 1847 novel that has inspired many a piece of media. From Kate Bush's song to a film by the same name, this piece of literature has made itself be known in many different shapes and forms. Similarly, there are many films that have all been based on books now considered to be an integral part of literature. Here are the 9 movies and the homonymous books they are based on. I will give a description and you will see the movie poster.
Okay. So
the books or movies you can choose from are Oliver Twist, The Three Musketeers, The Brothers Karamazov, The Great Gatsby, Pride and Prejudice, Little Woman, Les Miserables, The Decameron, and Gulliver's Travels. So now we're at the book part.
And I have such little time, so...
yeah, you only have 25 seconds.
Yeah, we'll speed run it. At least
you will see them on the screen, so you don't have to listen to me. If you already recognize it, you just scream
Okay,
it.
We'll try and survive.
Yeah, and if you are out of time when during the round and you still have already given the first 6 answers, then we only count those.
Okay, great.
So you can still manage.
Great, okay.
But I don't think you will have any time left for your lifelines because they cost 16 seconds each. So.
So I have to get it perfect then?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, let's start. Based on the novel by Charles Dickens, won the
Oliver Twist.
Based on the novel by Victor Hugo, it was brought twice to the screen, once as a musical.
Les Miserables.
Based on the novel by F. Scott Fitzgerald, it was brought twice to the screen.
Pass.
Based on the novel by Jane Austen, it was brought to the screen.
Pride and Prejudice.
Based on the novel by Alexander Dumas, it was brought to the screen a plethora of times, including once by Disney with Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck.
Three Musketeers.
Based on the novel by Louisa May Alcott, it was brought. Based on the novel by Fyodor Dostoevsky,
Brothers Karamazov.
Based on the novel by Jonathan Swift, it was brought to the screen.
Gulliver's Travels.
Oh, we're already out of time.
Did I get that last one in with Gulliver's Travels? No.
Oof, then I think it will be a tough one. Because I see that you have only given 4 answers.
So I guess that's
where there are 6 needed. But we can go to checking them either way. Knowing you've already lost, I'm sorry.
Ouch.
So, based on the novel by Charles Dickens, it won the International Award for Best Production Design. This is Oliver Twist. Then, based on the novel by Victor Hugo, it was brought twice to the screen, once as a musical as Les Miserables. Then, based on the novel by F. Scott Fitzgerald, it was brought twice to the screen as The Great Gatsby. Then the novel by Jane Austen, it was brought to the screen both as a film and a TV series. It's Pride and Prejudice. And based on the novel by Alexander Dumas, it was brought to the screen a plethora of times, including once by Disney with Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck and Goofy in the main roles. It's The Three Musketeers. Then the novel by Louisa May Alcott, it was brought multiple times to the screen, once by Greta Gerwig, is Little Woman. Then based on the novel by Fyodor Dostoevsky, it was nominated for 9 different awards and won 1. It's The Brothers Karamazov. And then the novel by Jonathan Swift, it was brought to the screen multiple times under different titles, once with Jack Black. It's Gulliver's Travels. And the last one, the novel by Giovanni Boccaccio, it was brought to the screen as a film only once by Pier Paolo Pasolini. It's The Decameron. So I'm sorry. It's not that you gave wrong answers, it's just that your time ran out. You should have been more careful with those lifelines in the start.
I really should have, yeah, but what can you do, you know?
Hindsight is 20/20.
That's what they say, yeah.
But thanks either way for participating. I hope you had a great time.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this, yeah.
That's good to hear.
It's great, yeah.
All right, and then the answer to today's viewer question is Theresa May. Congratulations to all of you at home that got it right. Well, this sums up Sparta by the Second for today, and we hope you all tune in next week again. Bye bye.